Okay, it's been a pretty long time, hasn't it? Goodness gracious, 5 months without a single upload. But, I guess we're back again. Um, it's been hard to upload for a while now 'cause of friggin' school, sports, social life, all that stuff. It's been like overweighing my priorities, like my side priorities that I did for fun, such as YouTube. And it's been really hard. So I know no one really used to watch my videos before, but I mean, hopefully some people watch it now, dude. I don't care. That's what I'm gonna say.
Feel up, what the hell, man?
50 cal mixed.
Welcome to Brixton, I'm in the party with Barbies and drillers. The kickback mad on the spinner, see enough man just run for my niggas. How they talk about dingers, they ain't got dingers, they ain't beat cool, not a dinger. My little nigga riding loose with a chinger, man you get done with your nigga. Welcome to Brixton, I'm in the party with Barbies and drillers.
So tonight I had a dream where I was back in my old school, but it seemed like I had some kind of zombie virus in me, and I was in a basement school clinic where I was lying on a hospital bed next to my best friend's hospital bed, who also had that virus or sickness in him. At first, it was only about talking to my best friend and about my girlfriend coming in from time to time to check in on us. We both had tubes going in our arms that supposedly pumped an antidote into our bloodstreams to keep us from turning. It was like a milky substance, the color kinda like an eggnog, but a bit brighter. After a while, my girlfriend didn't come back and didn't answer to the buzzer over our beds, and the antidote also stopped because the tubes clogged up, and I couldn't even get to them. I couldn't even get them to run smoothly again. So, at some point, I risked it and got up, ripping out the tubes in my arm and telling my best friend to try to get behind his bed without ripping his tubes out in case I started turning. But nothing happened, and I stood there kind of baffled and happy about beating the virus or whatever. It was so I asked him if he wanted to do the same, and so he did. And again, nothing happened. Happy but kinda on alert because all this seemed weird, we started walking up towards the room of the school director to tell her the good news. But on our way up, things got even more weird because we encountered no other students. Every door was closed, and we didn't hear anything from within the rooms. So we reached the principal's office and knocked on her door. But apparently, during my time when I finished school and this incident, they changed the principal's office to another room. But the strange thing was that while opening the wrong door, every teacher was on its way out of school, while only the principal stayed. Opening the wrong door, every teacher was on its way out of school, but only the principal stayed back in school. So, we went to the right door, and the principal looked completely surprised to see us, but that was understandable, given the circumstances. So, my best friend was allowed to leave the school with all the other teachers, but the principal wanted to talk to me. And so we talked through the big room where all the classroom doors went off, and she told me that she was very angry and disappointed in me for ripping out those tubes, instead of being happy that we were cured. To my surprise, she sent me to my old class, and it was full of students that looked up to me with fear in their eyes. All the blinds in the room were down, and suddenly I heard a mechanical hum which made me walk back down into the big hallway. After the principal, as soon as she heard my footsteps, she turned around with such anger in her eyes that she kind of scared me. So I started smiling to lighten up the mood a bit, but that made her even more angry and screamed at me to go back into the classroom. So I did. Back in the classroom, I asked one of the students what was going on with the principal and why they were still in class, while all the teachers clearly left the building. But all I got was a weird look. I couldn't figure out what it meant. So I asked a female student behind me, and she started writing some and she started so I asked a female student behind me, and she started writing something on a piece of paper and signaled me to turn back around. I didn't know her, but none of the other students seemed to acknowledge me being there, or even my existence. After a while, she slipped a piece of paper in my pocket and said to move out the classroom quietly, but telling some camera in the corner of the classroom that I need to use the restroom. After I left the classroom, I hid behind a little walk that separates the auditorium from the second floor classrooms and sat down. After a little while, the female student came out and told me to follow her into another classroom. That was too full of students that seemed to acknowledge us, but ignored us willingly. It all seemed to be surreal, that it was almost uncomfortable, even though I knew I was dreaming. So she led me to a window and an emergency door that led to the roof of the locker rooms of the gym, and on top of it grew a tree with the number 3 written next to each other 3 times. She started to explain to me that there's some kind of curse on the school, that the principal puts the school on lockdown every evening, and only the teachers were allowed to leave because apparently they weren't affected by it. And the reason for my best friend and me being pumped of that weird fluid, the thing made me question all that. Was my best friend allowed to leave, but I needed to stay? So I asked her what was up with that, and she answered she didn't know. I asked her if anyone has tried to get to the tree and do something with it, but she told me everyone that has tried was either shot by some guards I haven't seen yet, or died later on by mysterious circumstances. But she'd never seen it by herself, but only heard stories about it. This all seemed more and more sketchy, so I told her we needed a plan, try to figure out what was going on, but she was hesitant to help me. I convinced her, telling her that if we didn't figure out what was going on, that we could possibly just die in here, or get as brain dead as her fellow students in the first classroom. So she decided to help me. She told me that there's one door that can be opened that the principal doesn't know about. So we went to there and climbed up onto the roof with the tree on it, and I climbed further up the roof, but she stayed down there. I tried to tell her to touch the tree, but she was too scared at first. So I talked her into it for a little while, but until she slowly walked towards it, stopped walking for a second, turned around for a second before turning towards the tree again, and she touched it. Nothing happened, and she started smiling, but I told her to go back while I went to confront the police. So I started making my way down to the principal's office. As soon as I was in front of the principal, she sprinted out and gave me a bad punch to the chin. She started yelling what was I thinking, and who I think I am to fuck up her plan. She pressed a button on the wall, and through the door I saw silver panels going down. As soon as all the windows were covered, they started to give away a slight hum, and started to shine very bright. All of a sudden, many students ran out the classrooms after being chased by other students that went absolutely crazy, and started to hit, bite, and throw down from the second story. In all that chaos, the principal started laughing like a maniac, so I started running upstairs towards the emergency exit that was still open. The principal started chasing after me. On the way up, I had to push and punch many students out of my way. Under them, the girl that initially helped me, but now went completely crazy, so I had to throw her down to the first floor. On my way out, I grabbed a metal handle from a canvas that was used to pull it down from the ceiling. After catching my breath, I was hit in the back with something sharp. As I turned around, the principal was standing behind me with 2 big blades in her hand. She started fighting me, but I was able to block almost all her blows, but she didn't seem to be very good with the blades, and our fight continued outside the building, going further and further down the garden onto the road. Suddenly she got hit by a car and flew about 60 miles and stayed on the street onto the road, face down, bleeding like hell. I didn't really care about her. I was much more interested in checking myself for injuries. After a few seconds, I heard a door from a car, and my best friend put his hand on my shoulder and asking if I was okay. I told him yes, and that he needed to call the police and the school. Absolute hell was breaking loose. 15 minutes and I couldn't go back in because I was completely dead from the fight a few minutes ago. So we called the police and they started to lock the school down again. Sent a special ops team to get in these panels back up because they believed that they were the reason why so many students started attacking other students. In the end, 60 students died from being attacked by other students. 73 students died from heart attacks because their bodies couldn't handle their rage. Most of them saved themselves by barricading themselves into restrooms. Alright, so this was my first attempt at like voiceover videos. I'm gonna get better at this, so don't expect this like always, but I hope y'all enjoyed the video. I'm gonna try my best to like try to get out a video like every weekend, cause like I said in the beginning, I have a lot of stuff that I have to do that over prioritizes YouTube. Like it just goes over YouTube and I can't do YouTube videos. So I'll try, but thank y'all for watching this video. Let's see how many likes I get. I don't really care. Subscribe to the channel and comment. Let me know what you thought about the story. You know, don't I mean, yeah, talk about like my performance on how I read it, but like I know I did bad, so you don't have to tell me. Just tell me how the story was.